Give it love. Mm, mm. Everybody needs. What up? What up? What up? Starting today off with a little bit of Luther Vandross. If you don't know who he is, you're making me feel like I'm aging myself when I'm not old. So figure that out. Luther Vandross. Okay. But hey, welcome back. Welcome to my room. This is a little weird. I'm like changing locations every week as I try to figure out where I can talk and not feel awkward for my sister or my roommate listening to me talking to a camera. So we're going to try this out for this week. I'm giving you basically a house tour without really trying. But anyways, so today, again, no timer, I'm going to give a little background about my journey as a photographer. And hopefully that generates questions or thoughts that you want to know or things you want to know about, struggles you want me to share. It's fine. I'm just being open. So where to start? So I got my first camera in a very sneaky way. It wasn't actually that sneaky. Daddy, if you're watching, it wasn't sneaky. I was being honest. So senior year of high school, I had a teacher that was super dope. Her name was Mrs. Grayval, and she taught our AP art class. And so that included like photography, sculpture, drawing, anything, all these other mediums that I have no clue about, right? So a lot of people used to be like, oh, you can't graduate from the school without taking her class. So I was like, bet. I think my parents would be down. It's an AP art class. AP, that's the main thing. College credits. So I was like, yo, mom, dad, I should take this class. It's an AP class. It'll be good, you know? It'll be good to show that I'm well balanced for college. And they're like, yeah, okay. So they took me to like Best Buy or something and got me a little Fujifilm point and shoot. That was my first camera. And I think that I always felt that I was good at taking pictures, per se. Like, I think I would see someone laugh. Like, I loved candid moments back then. Still do. I used to see people laugh or whatever and just be like, dang, you cute. You cute. That's a shot right there. Boom, you know? And like my grandparents love taking photos. You know, Nigerians. Well, if you don't know, they're like, take my photo. And then like, no smile. Whatever. So my dad used to always take pictures of everything, video of everything. So I think I kind of grew up with it without really noticing that I did. So I got my first camera, started taking that class, and just realized that I was good at it, that I had the eye or whatever that was. But by the end of senior year, we raised money, went on a class trip, and somebody knocked my camera out of my hands. Oh, it was painful. It was painful. Like, it took all of me not to go off on that person. But yeah, I thought like, okay, well, that's that. You know, I'm going to go to college cameraless. We didn't have Instagram and stuff back then. We had like we had like MySpace, okay? And I don't think like photos weren't like that accessible, or like people's like ways to express themselves wasn't that accessible. Maybe Tumblr was popping back then, but I was not. I was like oblivious. So I went to college, got a camera, and then one of my good friends in college at UCLA found a camera. I'm not gonna tell you that story, but he found a camera. Didn't know he found it, so I borrowed it and I started like using it to shoot. Like, we have like protests and a bunch of stuff because we were having a lot of fee hikes across the UC system. So I started shooting protests, and then ended up getting a photo editor position for our African American magazine on campus, and just started getting asked to come and shoot this, that, and the third for different organizations. And by the end of freshman year, someone offered to pay me $50. Okay, that was big money to me back then. $50 to take their grad photos. And I was looking at the person like, are you crazy? Me. A homie. Hey, 50. You know what I could do with $50? I was like, girl, are you sure? Are you sure? Hey. So I ended up saying yes. I was like, nah, like, you ain't gotta pay me. Didn't know my worth. Ended up doing it. And then getting asked by a couple other people to take their photos. Ended up taking all the photos for the seniors that were graduating that year for African Grad, for the pamphlet thing. And it kind of took off after that. So that following summer, between first and second year, I ended up like deciding like, yo, I'm about to buy a camera. Like, I love this stuff and it makes me happy. So saved up, bought a camera. I think I got a Canon T1i, like the very first or second, not the first. This is like a couple series into the Rebel series. Bought my first camera then, and I just started honestly getting paid to shoot a lot of grad photos. Still shot a bunch of stuff around school, but I remember like by third year, I think I shot 100 people during grad season, and by that time, my price had doubled because I was like, yo, I'm spending a lot of time out here getting the darkest of tans, walking around this whole big campus for somebody. You gonna pay me today? And I think I wasn't really editing photos. Like I was like really about like just getting it. Was I even shooting manual back then? Man, I was a lazy bum. I'll be real. I was like, nah, I'm too scared. I'm too scared. I can't commit. My parents don't even know what photography is. They're like, study your books. And so I'm pretty sure I was shooting auto, but I was starting to understand light, specifically like natural light and things like that. So I think when I graduated, I ended up buying a Canon 6D. That's what I shoot with now. So maybe 2014, I might have bought it. Pretty new when it came out. And my friend Liz was like, girl, you just need to shoot manual. Like, why don't you shoot manual? I think you're going to be able to do so much more. So I went over and hung out with her, and I turned that mess on manual, and my life like was like, wow. Mind you, I just shot my first wedding that summer before turning it on manual. So I shot a wedding in auto. I'm embarrassed to say that. I shot a whole wedding in auto. And I mean, they were happy with it, you know? I wasn't looking back. I'm like, dang, girl, the glow up. It was like one day to the next. All of a sudden, I was like, oh, your photos are lit. Still not editing photos, right? So that's like a huge thing now. Skin, getting it to be glowy, whatever. I was so anti-editing because I wanted it to be natural, like what I caught on camera. And I think part of my thought process behind that was like that I'm a very optimistic person for the most part, unless it has to deal with myself, different conversation. And so I think sometimes the way that I see things, I try to see things like the way that I think God would see them. And when I look at people, sometimes I just see so much beauty. I see so much beauty in what's around me. I think I always have. And so sometimes I just feel like, why am back then I used to be like, man, I ain't gonna edit this. That ain't how it is. So why am I gonna edit it and make it fake? Whatever. They're very extra. So after I graduated college, my friends were telling me, you need to call yourself a photographer, because I would not, for some reason, call myself a photographer. Okay? Like, I felt like it was claiming something that wasn't mine. I was still like pursuing med school, and I was going to grad school for my master's in public health, and my parents weren't down for it, understandably so. It's an area, even back then it was an area, not back then, it was like 5 years ago. It was an area that was very like risky. It wasn't for sure like it's going to be safe. She's going to have money to take care of herself. This is something that we know. They don't know that stuff. They only knew like medicine, engineering, and law, right? So I can understand now why they weren't as encouraging about it. But I ended up going to grad school, and someone that knew of me from UCLA days referred me when the law school was looking for a photographer to get on staff to help boost the university presence for the law school specifically. So I got an interview with the dean of the law school, and she booked me, and they were paying me dang near my full price, which at the time I was like, man, I don't feel like I'm worth it. But people were like, no, you better charge that because you're about to edit it. You know what you're doing. You know what you're delivering. And that's when I think I started making contracts and like started being a little bit more business-like with it. I was very kind of careless when it came to saving and doing things like that. And so kind of shifted over to the money side of photography, which took away from the creative side of it. Like I was doing a lot of corporate work, shooting some weddings, and things like that, and doing school. So it kind of drained the fun out of it for me for a while, until I got to go to India for my master's program, and ended up having this. I had a plan of what I was going to study. I'd done the research beforehand. Got there, and the population I wanted to study wasn't there. I was like, oh my gosh, okay, come up with a new plan. I realized that hygiene was a huge issue in that area, and I had to get creative with how to promote better hygiene practices. And so I did a photo shoot. They had like an orphanage that they owned, that the organization I was working with owned. and I got some of the girls to like just do like a hand washing photo shoot for me, and I made like hand washing flyers that were at a literacy level for the communities that I was in, like a lot of rural communities, and we put those up in all the schools. And so that's how I was able to use photography and merge that with public health. So I was like, oh, bet. I'm not sure how this is going to work in the long run, but I know that it can. So I was able to do that with public health, started going to post back, and was still kind of shooting here and there to pay bills. I was living in my own apartment at the time, so paying rent and all that stuff. So I think it was, I didn't realize or fully wrap my mind around the fact that I was freelance photographer. I was shooting freelance only from graduating in 2013 till I started med school in 2017, and was able to take care of myself. Like God was just sending people my way. It was all pretty much word of mouth. I wasn't over here like pubbing myself heavy like I feel like I could have. I wasn't ever fully invested in the craft and in learning because I was always studying or doing something school related, focusing on like med school. So sometimes I sit and think like, man, I think I could have gone farther than I have. But I'm so grateful for the experience that I've had. I got to do. I prayed about. I was like, man, during application season, I was like, God, I'm trying to shoot somebody's travel photo trip because I love to travel. Coming in on the next video. Stay tuned. And I'm trying to do that before I get into med school because I know you're going to open the door for me to get into med school. And somebody hit me up on Instagram. Instagram has a special place in my heart. Despite all the algorithm changes, it has really opened doors and connected me to people that I never thought I would ever know. And they're super dope, and some people that I now call family. So I was able to go to Italy and France off of a travel trip and get paid for that. And also got to do a travel job in Morocco. So all of these things before coming to med school. So I think that once you start believing in yourself, believing in believing in your capabilities, investing in the time to learn, because I did learn enough, I think, to know what I liked and what I didn't like in terms of what my product is. And I know there's so much, oh my gosh, there's so much for me to learn in terms of my equipment. Right now I'm shooting on a Fuji. I've been going back and forth between my Fuji and my Canon. I think I might stick with Fuji for this, but even like I have so much to learn about my equipment. I have so much to learn in terms of editing and still keeping it natural because I still go for that natural vibe. But I've realized that the more you promote yourself and accept jobs that you don't feel like you can do, you're going to figure it out and you're going to learn it and you're going to get the job done. And that's how I've gotten to where I am. Now I shoot for my med school, which is so helpful to me. I've even shot, during the second year, I've shot 2 weddings and like some headshots and like some other random gigs here and there that's helped me so much. So I think this journey has been very exciting and one I would have never expected. So I hope that is a good enough picture of my creative journey so far. If I forgot anything, I'm sure I'll share it later. But ask questions. Let me know what you want to know, what you want me to talk about. But thanks for stopping by my bedroom. Bye, y'all.